All right, Chooms, let me know if you guys can see me in chat. Hold on. Am I live? Was it working? Was it not working? Mute this. Is it working now? Was I not live earlier? I was talking and everything. I saw you guys chatting and everything. Was there issues on your end? Were you guys not seeing me? Can see and hear you. I can see your video, but not your chat. You should be able to pop it up. There should be a button there. I can see and hear you. Okay, were you guys not able to see me before? I was literally talking. Interesting. That's so weird. That is so weird. Okay, well, I guess we got to start fresh. What's up, everybody in chat? How you doing? Thank you guys for joining me. What is this thing? What is going on, John? What are you doing? I'll tell you what I'm doing, guys. I'm doing a live stream. Hopefully, Sundays at this time, at this place, is the perfect combination. Happy Memorial Day weekend. The idea is we're going to get together. Just got the notification that you went live, not before. That's so weird, dude. It should have been live. That's interesting. Interesting. Oh, let's record. I need to record this too. All right. That's so weird. Well, thank you guys for joining me. The idea of this stream is going to be us talking about RPG videos, RPG content, talking about all kinds of stuff related to tabletop gaming. I really just wanted to connect with you guys and talk about our favorite subjects. All right, this community is the best, and I miss my live streams. If you guys have seen Cyberpunk in a car, we used to get together. I just did a live stream recently while I was doing laundry, and I missed it, man. It was good times. We actually got to connect and do all that. YouTube have been buggy lately. Yeah, it definitely was. Well, you guys know where you can find me on social media at John the Wise, John the Wise on Patreon if you want to support. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast Tabletop Cyberpunk, where there's more cyberpunk stuff for you. All right, Discord community as well. Join that Discord. A lot of people have been joining that Discord. If you see that artwork back there, that artwork right there was made from our Discord community. It's a beautiful piece of artwork. You are the best, John. No, you are the best, Bronx. You are the best. So, tell me, how you guys been? How's everything? It's good to see all of you. I'm really happy to be able to connect. And I wanted to talk to you guys about Cyberpunk Combat Zone. All right, follow me over here. I was playing some Combat Zone over the last couple days because I wanted to get familiar with the system more before the game comes out. And so I was playing it on Tabletop Simulator by myself. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, like playing war games by yourself. It is a 2-player game, but if you could just run the scenarios, you know what I mean? You just roll dice and it's like, okay, if I'm in the shoes of this player, these are the tactical moves that I would make. And then in the shoes of the other player, it's the same thing. But really, it's the best way to familiarize yourself with the rules and how it works, like rolling dice, the characters, the cards, all that stuff. You know, you won't have time in the moment when your friend is teaching you, but you have time by yourself to just pause the game, look up the rule book, look up the issues that you're having. I even went on Discord and asked questions on the official Discord and stuff like that. So a game that probably would have lasted like 2 hours lasted like 4 hours because I was taking my time with it. But now I feel like I got more of a grasp on the system. So I highly recommend playing with yourself. Excuse me. Once or twice to learn the rules and stuff. Okay. Very good. So yeah, I was giving it a shot, and I actually really like it. I think there's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of strategy. Each one of the players' cards have something interesting about them. Let's see if we can find one here, like an example of one. Okay, here we go. So you can see this character's name is Flenzer. And basically what you have is you have your model and you have your character card, and then you have some tokens with them. This stuff right here is their actions, the green and yellow. That's how you do all the stuff they can do. And these are their stats, just like a character sheet. She has 2 reflex, 3 melee, and 2 inspiration or command. That basically activates a friendly model, as you can see here. So the idea is when you finish your actions, it goes to the next player's turn. But let's say you use 2 of your actions, then on your last one, you activate another friendly model. That other model can go. And so you just like kind of chain reaction, pop, pop, pop. You got like 4 models going all at once in your turn, and it's like one big amount of damage all at once. And it's nice. I like it. It's cool. I didn't get to mess with the gear as you see over here, but I familiarized myself with the stats and what you got to roll and defense, and there's a lot of nuance to it, man. I'm actually really impressed with the game, and I can't wait to really give it a shot. I have a bunch of stuff coming, and hopefully I'm working on a little partnership with the Monster Fight Club as well. But I got a bunch of stuff coming for me. Damn, all this stuff in the game box. Look at that. That's so cool. Quick assembly, game board plus scenery, plastic stuff. Cool. Loot cards. Oh, these are the daily miniatures. We're getting all 21 of these minis for free, because we backed it, and every day that we backed it, they hit more and more milestones. It's nuts, dude. 21 free miniatures plus character cards. So good. Oh, I already have this guy. Cool. All right. So yeah, that's Combat Zone. I'm definitely going to be making content. Are you guys going to be playing it? Let me know in chat if you guys are going to be playing this game as well. Let's pause the music here, and we're going to watch a video from my good buddy Dustin here. This is from Infinite Sided Dice. They just hit 1,000 subscribers. That means they can finally go live on their YouTube channel. So hopefully we'll see more of that. All right. I have since, good old Arasaka 40 feet container. Sweet. Yeah. Every game will have a container. How cool is that? All right. You guys ready? Let's watch a video. This is a video on how to create your own epic TTRPG campaign. Step 1, Session 0. I made my own Session 0 video way back when, so I'm interested to see what Dustin has to say. This is going to be the first video of its kind, by the way. Love your content. Phone's about to die. All right, Stanton, charge that phone. Thank you for using your last few bits of energy on me. Oh, man. All right, here we go. Let's watch this.
Hello and welcome to Infinite Sided Dice, where we tell stories and the dice decide our fate. Thank you for joining us for this new series we're calling Infinite Sided Advice. Our goal with these videos is to help you have the best possible tabletop role-playing game experiences. This first series is about creating your very own epic campaign that will keep your players engaged, be fun for the game master, and take less time than you might think.
That's a very important point that he just made. Fun for the game master. You know, I think we forget about that when we're gaming. Is the game master supposed to have fun too? So Session 0 is really the game master's way of gaining information from the players about what he's going to be planning. He's trying to find out, okay, what kind of fun can I have with this group, you know? So yeah, that's very important that Dustin mentioned that.
Part 1, we'll be discussing the 10 questions to ask your players before you even begin planning your campaign. Are you ready? Let's get going.
I mean, look, that quality's insane. The quality's insane. It's so good. It's so good.
Question 1. Tell me a story from your character's past. This can be short and simple. For instance, when I was young, I tried to protect my younger sibling from getting beat up, and I got beat up really bad instead. To something longer, like I went to a boarding school and there was a cadre of bullies and the teachers turned a blind eye and my parents were missing, all the way up to a scripted scene. For instance, "Hey you, get away from them," I yelled as I charged across the quad. All of these are valid and incredibly useful. You might get campaign locations, NPCs, and character motivations. In addition, you begin to learn what kind of player they are.
All right, before we go on to that next point, the character backstory is obviously something that's huge in Cyberpunk. I mean, Cyberpunk has the backstory built into character creation with your life path system. But it's always good to remember that essentially before you even roll dice and use the life path system, it's good to have an idea of what your character's background is going to be like anyway. That life path system is really just there to facilitate that, to make it better and easier and more fun, and to surprise you, really. But when you make a character, it's really important that you have a good a backstory that you thought of, because that gives the game master something to work with, basically. You know what I mean? But the idea that something you're talking about your backstory, always remember in our lives, real life, everybody has like one thing that they can talk about that has happened in their life that has shaped them. You know, it usually has to do with their family and their upbringing, where they went to school, what they studied, you know, etc., stuff like that. So your character should be no different. There's probably one major event that happened in your character's life that has shaped their future or their present. And try to remember that when you're making a character. The whole thing, the first example where my younger brother was always bullied and I had to protect him, but I wasn't really that strong, so I would get beat up instead of my brother. Well, if we dissect that, that means, you know, maybe the older brother might have a little bit of resentment for the little brother for getting him beat up all the time. Maybe the little brother feels like feelings of inadequacy because he wasn't able to protect his older brother. And as a game master, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I got to keep this stuff in mind because that's something I can introduce into the campaign. So yeah, always break down the life path. Lanovania85 says, in my group, I am the only one going big on the backstory. 4 pages minimum. It helps not just the GM, but me as well in how to roleplay. Exactly. It helps with role playing as well. You know, I do have to say, I don't want to knock anybody that doesn't want to go heavy on the backstory. But as a game master, what that tells me is, oh, you don't care about your backstory that much. So I don't feel bad if we don't touch on your backstory during the campaign. That's happened to me. I've had players where they're like, oh, yeah, I don't know. The life path says I have an enemy. And I'm like, what's the enemy's name? I don't know, Fred. What? It says he's a corporate. What corporation does he work for? I don't know, Arasaka, I guess. Okay, Fred works at Arasaka. Fine. And then I write down in my note, doesn't give a shit about his backstory, which is okay. It's okay, man. Everybody has fun their own way, you know? Maybe he just wants to crunch numbers and roll dice and shoot weapons and min-max his character, and he doesn't care about the backstory all that much. There's going to be someone that does, and I can focus on that player. You know what I mean? It's nice to have variations other than that one quirk of smoking cigarettes all the time. Yeah, I got you.
Character motivations. In addition, you begin to learn what kind of player they are. Question 2. What is a lie your character believes about themselves? For example, I am responsible for the protection of everyone around me. This is excellent for getting your player started on their roleplay journey. They might know every spell or bit of equipment or piece of cyberware their character has equipped, but perhaps they haven't taken time to consider their character's internal conflicts. In addition, this can be a great start for a character arc. More on that later.
All right, so what lie is your character telling themselves is really a very philosophically deep question. The idea is that your character doesn't know that they have a negative trait about them, but you as a meta gaming player in the meta, you know that they do have a negative trait. And part of it is lying to themselves about who they truly are. We do it in real life. You know, that's when you have that little revelation. Either you talk to a therapist or you just realize one day, oh, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole is questioning that whole concept. You know what I mean? So that's where what Dustin is touching on right here. He's touching on the thing that your character doesn't really know about themselves on surface value, but deep down they know that there's that inner conflict within them, that inner issue that hasn't come to the surface. Once again, another thing that the game master can use to make an interesting scenario. He can bring that up to the surface. And it's kind of like a wink and a nod to you, like, hey, this is the time for you to role play those inner conflicts that we talked about at session 0.
In addition, this can be what is a wound your character has suffered, either physical or emotional. Here the player may give you a new life event, or they may refer back to their original story. For instance, I have a scar above my eyebrow that reminds me of the time I tried to protect my sibling. This is great. It means that players are not only internalizing the events of their character's backstory, but starting to think about how those events have impacted their character. This also becomes a great source of roleplay opportunities. Many times multiple characters will have similar wounds that need healing. You can just put them in a quiet room together and see what comes up.
So, what is a wound that your character is still dealing with? That's really interesting. That's something that hurts deep. And I love that Dustin talked about multiple characters having the same wound. You know, if they have similar issues with their past, similar things that have happened to them, then I can see that. You know, maybe they were part of one big event that affected so many people, like a global event or something that happened within their city. Then it's something they carry with them for the rest of their life. It would be interesting to connect two players that have the same kind of significant wound.
Question 4. How has that wound affected your character? Are they flawed in some way by it? An example here might be, my fear that I can't protect my friends keeps me from getting close to people and closes me off. Here we give the players a chance to really explore how their backstory will affect their character, and more importantly, how they will perform as their character. This is also information the Game Master can use to create conflict and tension with the character and the party. They show the Game Master these wounds, and then the Game Master can decide whether to rub the proverbial salt in them or give them a chance to heal. Ideally, you do both.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how has the wound affected you is really important. As Dustin said, the Game Master can play with that. But it's good to know how it's affected somebody, because it also tells you as a game master what line to cross and not to cross. You know, how close can we get to the vulnerability of your character? Because at some point your character will snap, right? You know, if the game master prods too hard, you're left, you know, you're kind of cornered as a player, and you're like, okay, I guess this is the moment I snap because I'm being pushed to this limit. What is your character afraid of?
Question 5. What is your character afraid of? Now, in our example, the player has already described something they were afraid of. In that case, they may just say, see above, which is fine. A little bit of repetition is okay. However, most of the time, this will encourage players to come up with something more tangible. What's more fun than a hero that's inexplicably afraid of rats? Questions?
Yeah, I get it. So, you know, it's not what are you afraid of? Existential dread, losing your life. Like, okay, we're all afraid of that. Now let's talk about the one thing you maybe have an irrational fear about, or a rational fear, but it's just something that not most people are afraid of.
6. What is a secret that you keep that nobody, not even your friends, know? This is a juicy one. Players will give you everything from some secret shame that they carry, to jobs that went wrong that they're responsible for, or even a secret heritage that they keep from everyone. Keep in mind that these secrets do not even need to come out during the campaign to be really useful roleplay tools. Just knowing those secrets will give their characters more depth. Of course, these can also be central plot hooks. Every secret is a potential sword of Damocles.
Okay, yeah, I like that. The idea of your characters having secrets is really important, because that's something that you can bring up later on in the game. In one of my last campaigns, if you guys see Under the Crimson Sky, you know that our Netrunner character had an Arasaka hit team after him, and he failed to mention that to the people that he was with, and the people that he was with were going to be collateral damage, and they very well might have died in a combat situation, but they were able to prevail. And then they, you know, first thing they did was, why the hell are these Arasaka guys after us? What did you do? And it led to a lot of conflict. It led to mistrust and all those things. Good to see you, Brody. It's Black Cubes. Good to see you, Canary Yellow, aka Black Cubes. Thank you for joining us.
Question 7. What is something you've always wanted to do in a campaign? This is a great way to find out what kind of player is behind the character. Are they looking to blow up a corporation or slay an ancient red dragon? Or maybe something less tangible, like explore what it means to be human, or roleplay a scene where everyone cries tears of joy? The point is, if you want to keep a player engaged in your campaign, just ask them what they want. Alternatively, if you're a player and your GM doesn't ask you, tell them. Now, of course, with a bunch of players at the table, they're all going to want different things, and they can't all happen at the same time. But simply by asking this question, the GM lets the players know that they're taking their wants and needs into consideration, and the players in turn will be more patient waiting for their moment to come.
Okay, so that's really important. That's something that I do all the time. I have to make sure I find out how my players like to enjoy playing the game. I have to know that because if I know it, then I can prepare better. For example, you might have one player who likes combat. He likes the numbers, and not only what does he like about the combat is what I would ask. He likes the ranges, he likes cover, he likes holding actions, being creative on the battlefield, using your environment. It's not just rolling dice. Someone might say, I just like rolling dice. Okay? All right. That's one thing to tackle. But if somebody says, I want to be creative during combat, that's something to keep in mind as well. That tells me as a game master that on the battlefield, I better have things that the players can interact with that will affect the combat. You press a button and a big metal gate comes down and smashes the head of one of the combatants. That gate was there because I knew that player likes to interact with the environment. So let's say you have a group of players, all of them like role playing. They're like, combat is fun, it's nice, but it's not really the main aspect of why we like to play. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have combat in your game. That just means that your combat should have a narrative significance. That every kind of situation that they put themselves in, the person that they're fighting has a narrative reason for being there. It's not just some boosters on the street. This is like the boss of a booster gang that they've been after for a while, and they infiltrated the booster gang, and now is the moment where they're going to take action. So that combat has more to do with all that. Retrophy, hello, finally caught you live. What's the topic? The topic today is how to create your own epic TTRPG campaign session 0 from infinite sided dice. Let's continue. Tell me about your best experience.
Question 8. Tell me about your best experience at the table. This is similar to the previous question, but might be easier to answer for some people. Many times players who have trouble expressing what they want from a game will be quick to regale you with a story. For instance, the time their rocker boy convinced a bunch of their fans to dress up in mascot costumes and crash a corpo party. Or the time their paladin with 1 hit point left scored a critical hit and stacked it with smite and killed the BBEG. Or the time their character failed to sneak into a room and instead set the curtains on fire and caused all kinds of mayhem. All of these examples are clues as to the type of game this player will thrive in. In fact, even if you don't do formal questions for your campaign, do this one. Often you can find answers to many of the other questions hidden within these stories.
Yeah, that question is kind of like a cheat code, because you're basically asking your player, what was the one thing an event that happened during gaming that you'll never forget? And their answer will basically let you know that that's what they find impressive. So, for example, let's say you talk to somebody and they tell you, my favorite time was when the game master had this big plan and I completely derailed it and went like off the Richter and was creative, and we were able to resolve the situation in 1 second. And the game master was like, I created all this stuff and you guys basically problem solved it in 1 second. Maybe the game master would be upset about that. I, as a game master, wouldn't be upset about that, because I would think to within reason, I would think to myself, this player was creative enough to find a way to resolve my problems. And it was a way that I didn't think of myself. So obviously they outsmarted me, good for them. So I definitely know that this player likes that cat and mouse game with the game master. They like to have that tit for tat situation. If you guys have seen Inglorious Bastards, that whole scene inside of the cafe or the bar where, they're British and American spies, or American, anyway, they're spies in the bar, and it's just filled with Germans. And they have to basically keep the looks as if they are German. That whole thing, that's like peak role playing. If you and your group can get to do that kind of scene together, that's peak role playing in my opinion. And maybe there will be a player that would really, really love that. Paul, how you doing? Good to see you.
Often you can find
Whoops.
personal lines, any of the other questions hidden within these stories. Question 9. What are your personal lines and veils? If you don't know what lines and veils are, here's a quick summary. A line refers to something that a player does not want to have in their game. This may be because of some personal trauma, a bad gaming experience, or any number of reasons. A veil is a topic that, while uncomfortable, can be included in the story, they just don't want to interact with it directly. Events related to a veil happen off camera, so to speak. I'm sorry if this seems like a controversial topic, but honestly it shouldn't be. It's well worth the 10 seconds it will take to find out what an individual needs to avoid in order to have a good time. Also, it is essential that you ask this question now, before you begin to plan your campaign. It would be a real tragedy to spend a week writing a story based around a topic that a player is just not going to enjoy. Honestly, when playing with a friend group, it's unlikely you'll come up against this issue, but like I said, it takes 10 seconds to find out for sure. It's literally taken me longer to explain this question than it will take to ask and answer it. Now, how do we resolve any issues when they do come up? Well, lucky for us, we haven't started writing our campaign yet, so no harm. But if you have your heart set on running a campaign that directly violates one of the player's lines, perhaps because it features heavily in what one of the other players want, gently explain the issue, part as friends, and be ready to play another game at some other time.
Yeah, that's a big one. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that like, hey, my table, my rules, which yeah, that's true. And if there are certain topics that you can't handle, then too bad. Too bad, this is my table. These are the things that I do. Remember, guys, it's supposed to be fun, you know? We're supposed to be coming to the table to actually have fun. And if only one person is having fun, then you're basically playing by yourself. If the game master is the only one having fun, you're doing it wrong. If only half of the players are having fun and the other half are not, you're doing it wrong. Everybody's supposed to be able to have fun. And if it doesn't work, it truly is not working, then it's time to get another group or kick the person out of the group that isn't going to be able to handle the topics that you guys are going to be handling. And I mean that respectfully, kick them out, not kick them out, but ask them to leave, because you're basically telling them like, look, this is how the majority of us like to have fun. And these are the topics that we like to talk about. If it's going to be a problem for you, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Okay. I don't want to make you feel like you have to be forced to sit here and relive your traumas. But on the other hand, we just want to have fun too. So if it's not working for you, you can leave. But if you're willing to, you know, adjust your game to them, and maybe there's a way that you can skirt the issue, you can talk about it without getting heavily into detail. Like, for example, you flirting with an NPC is one thing, but, you know, gratuitously going into exposition about their activities is another thing. Okay, fade to black is one thing. Talking about all the different romance novel words out there. You know what I mean? I think you guys know what I'm saying. 50 Shades of Grey, doing all that, that's another thing. Okay? So there's a way to handle it, and the best way to do it, like Dustin said, is just have a conversation about it.
Question 10. Scheduling.
Uh-oh. The biggest killer of them all. Forget about anything else you heard on this video, all right? Scheduling is the enemy of gaming.
This might be the hardest part. Scheduling around 3 or 4 or 6 or 8 people's busy schedules can be next to impossible. So before you go to the trouble of getting backstories and pouring your heart into a campaign, make sure you have compatible schedules. Well, that about does it for this episode of Infinite Sided Advice. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon. Check for the link in the description below. Also, if you have any questions that you think make for a great session 0, make sure to drop them in the comments. I would love to see them. Once again, thank you for watching, and a very special thank you to our patrons. Your support literally makes everything about this channel possible. Special thanks to Brick, Joe Wells, Johnson Detlev, Carl Schneider, MCube27, Rosnall, Scott Gastineau, Anders Martin Helly, Caratine Cardstock, Igor, Jan Schlegel, John the Wise, Mr. Gray, Strive, and the Blackout 00. We look forward to seeing you next time with more infinite-sided advice.
Awesome video. Make sure you guys subscribe, alright? Infinite Sided Dice, they could really use the support. They're making good stuff, and Dustin is going to start making more videos like this. So yeah, session zeros are great. I think they're absolutely necessary. I don't think you can have a game without having a session zero. If anything, just to get everybody together to talk about the game. I like to end my session zero with actual gameplay because we don't want to get together and talk about the game without actually playing it. We got to play a little bit. And it's okay if it's only just like 1 hour. You know what I mean? We talked about all these characters and all the things they can do and how they can act. Let's play. Let's just test it out. Let's roll some dice. Let's see what they're good at. Let's see what they're poor at, you know, and see what the dice have decided. Trophy says, that's my line as a DM in every game I run. No explicit XXX. Yeah, I'm the same way. Excuse me. I don't like to explore those topics. I feel like it's kind of creepy and weird on one point, and also there's people have their own traumas with that kind of stuff, so why delve into it? You know what I mean? I understand the world sucks. I understand that there's bad things out there and there's bad people out there that do bad things. So why don't we just, you know, focus on what we like, which is the game, the power fantasy, exploring social issues, you know, and really just hanging out and playing games together. Yano says, by the way, I'm saying Yano. I don't know if it's Lano, but I speak and read Spanish, so 2 L's together make me want to say a Y. Yeah, it took us 4 months to finish a Cthulhu one-shot because people with little kids. Oh, yeah. So you got to kind of like stop. Got it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Call of Cthulhu has some very sensitive topics because it has a lot to do with horror and fear and stuff like that. But yeah, session zero, it's important. There you go. I was talking about this earlier, guys. Let's see. When my stream was supposed to be working, and it wasn't working for some reason. But I found this little TikTok here called Cyborgism. Okay? And, all right, that's not it. Here we go. So this person has put together a bunch of AI images, and I thought it would be interesting just to talk about it. Retrophy says, in my session zeros, I mostly run a short 1 to 3 scene thingy. Oh, scene thingy. Bit social, a short fight, and maybe some more social stuff. After that, my player can rebuild their characters. Oh, I like the idea of letting your players rebuild the characters that they have. Because, you know, when you make your characters all at once, you don't really know the system, especially if you're new to it. I always tell my players, listen, if you want to change anything retroactively, it's fine. Because, especially if you're new to the game, I'll allow it because it's like, you didn't know, you know, we were supposed to have fun. Old name, Lano, or whatevs. Okay, I'll go with Lano. Let me ask you guys, you are a space cowboy. Choose your sidekick. So this guy takes this person takes AI art and puts it together and makes for interesting things to talk about. I thought it would be, sorry for my English, I am from Austria. Listen, man, you don't have to apologize to me. I am a man of culture, okay? I speak multiple languages, and I totally understand. No, but for real, I'm around foreign languages all the time, and a lot of people where English is not their first language. It's totally fine. You don't have to apologize for not knowing another language. How much of the beat charts in the back of the CPR book do you actually use? Do you stick to that formula consciously? I almost never use any of those charts. Almost never. Because I'm able to just do it on the fly and do it in the moment and let my players guide me, but I'm not against it. I think it's a great way to just play the game if you have nothing planned, You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Okay, so you are now a space cowboy. Choose your sidekick. Are you going to go with Morty? Kongar. Holy shit. Look at Kongar, dude. Who gave the gorilla a sword? It's like a lightsaber sword. Rob, come on, Rob. What are you doing on my ship with that weird gun, dude? It has a vertical grip. And it looks like a tiny little pistol. What's up, Ventrex? Good to see you. We're just chatting. We're just having a good time over here. Got a lot of Germans in chat. Guten Tag. Code. Ooh. Is it code or code? Cody. I would say code. I like that. It's like Mortal Kombat with a K. Code looks like a interdimensional being. What the fuck? What is that? Okay. Michelle's a badass. Michelle's a badass. The stance is dope. That's a stance of someone that knows how to use that weapon. That's for sure. It's not for fun. Oscar. Okay, Oscar is a genius. Oscar is a genius. We all know Oscar is a genius. Unit 0. Holy shit, that's sick. Unit 0 is pretty cool. It looks like his brains got blown out. All right, let's see. In chat, we got to hear you guys in chat. You're a space cowboy. You're taking Morty, Kongar, Rob, Code, Michelle, Oscar, or Unit 0. The vertical grip. I mean, Rob does not look like he knows what he's doing. Rob does not look like he knows what he's doing. It looks like he was programmed incorrectly. But Code is something, dude, right? Paul likes Code. Michelle's cool, but I don't know. It's between Kongar, Code, and Oscar for me. I feel like Oscar is going to be like piloting my ship. Ether Lightning likes Kongar. Michelle. Okay, Zergash. When I picked the Space Dragon. Either Code or Unit 0. Okay, with so many Germans here, maybe an Austrian leader. Jesus Christ. Trying to get me demonetized already? I just started. This is the first stream. Alright, let's talk about Space Explorer. I think the consensus is basically... I think we're mostly going to go for Code. Hey, Jimmy, what's up, buddy? How are you? Probably more fun at Space Campfire than the Squid. Okay. Okay. All right. You are now a space explorer. Choose your co-pilot. Okay, we're talking about somebody that needs to fly this damn thing. All right. You got Mikey. First of all, we're looking at Mikey. He knows how to put on his own clothes. He has a uniform. He looks like you were saying, "Hey, Mikey, I want to take a picture of you," and he's like, "I'm busy." And I vote Kongar. Of course, Jimmy. Of course you would. And Mikey's like, "Look, I'm busy, man. I gotta handle computations and stuff like that." And you're like, "Come on, Mikey, I gotta take a picture, please." And he's like, "God damn it. Okay, fine. Take your picture, because I got work to do." Look at how much work he has to do. Leave Mikey alone. We got Alex. Alex looks like a free spirit. I don't know if it's what I'm looking for. Role-playing and world-building, Mikey would smell bad. Oh, you're right, Ekorin. You're right. Ekorin, role-playing and world-building. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel as well. He's got amazing stuff. Love that guy. Mikey would smell bad. Yeah, he would smell bad. You're right. But you know what? Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he would be cognizant of that. And he would be like, I know I'm a monkey, so I gotta wash extra. Or chimp. What is he? He's something. Tommy gives me Rocket Raccoon vibes, that's for sure. Does not look happy about the picture. Zen. Okay, so Zen is an interesting one. Zen is going to be coming up with you and trying to be all pacifist in the space world. But if he gets pushed to it, he might have to use his crazy kung fu fighting. You know what I mean? Mikey's straight up annoyed by your shenanigans while calculating hyperspace coordinates. He's trying to work, okay? He doesn't have time for this shit. He's like, I don't want to be on your TikTok, okay? I need to work. We got to fly out of here. So there's Zen. I don't know about Zen. I don't know about Zen. Not a really fun companion. We got Kowalski, of course. Of course, Kowalski. And Vicky. Very much Day of the Dead vibes. Would be cool. I would love to know the lore on this character. Does she come from a planet that everybody looks like that? Is she even a gendered individual? Is her planet completely non-gendered? And what's their vibe? Necromantic? Ape, maybe. Yeah, some kind of ape. And then we got Nero. I think Nero's going to be a fan favorite. Nero speaks his own language. He doesn't speak English or whatever the common tongue is. Kowalski 100%. No way, dude. It's got to be Mike. It's Mikey, dude. Mikey's the best. I know what. I don't care what anybody says. Mikey's the best, right? He's going to get the job done. And everyone's just going to judge him as being this ape. And they don't understand that he's just a grumpy pilot that is trying to compute coordinates. 100 Kowalski. All right. I guess. Kowalski's a meme, though, okay? He does have the goggles and the hat, though. The goggles and the hat are pretty big. Wouldn't trust Vicky's flying skills. Yeah. She's making the face because she just crashed. She's like, look, I can explain why we crashed. Nero's navigating the ship with his mind like the navigators in Farscape. Ooh, I like that, Lano. Ah, I like that. Yeah, look, he's got a neural link. You're right. So, highly intelligent, right? Nero's highly intelligent. Kowalski's a loose cannon. Yeah, Apes. I'm with you guys. I think we got more of a consensus than Mikey's the one. Mikey's the one for me. Let's do one more. Let's see. You are a rookie wizard. Choose your magical teacher. Okay, here we go. So we are an apprentice, and we got to learn under a new magical teacher. We got Master Zephyr. Very much, cute. Obviously, anytime you got like a small character that knows magic, they're always either super powerful or they are completely incompetent. There's no in between. There's no like average. There's no like mediocreness. They're like one or the other. It's either Yoda, the small little dude that's like crazy into the Force, or it's like Jiminy Cricket. You know what I mean? We got Luna the Witch. I would not recommend it. Brujeria. You don't want to mess with that, dude. All right, look at she made a whole cave out of the skulls of all the animals that she conquered. Not learning from Luna. No, thank you. Count Drac. Oof. I don't know, man. It looks like he might make me as Renfield. Yeah, these are all AI drawings, Jimmy. We got Ken the Drunkard. Okay, I think we found our favorite. Zephyr has skeletons in his closet. Don't trust it. Zephyr feels like he'd be a prankster to his students. I see that. Yeah, the hands are all messed up. Yeah, it's AI. Magnus. Holy shit. Okay, how old is Magnus? 4,000 years old? I don't know, man. If Magnus is your teacher, that means you're going to end up like him, okay? He's teaching you to be like him. I don't know if that's what you want. Meryl? Okay, Meryl's cool. Meryl has been going through these issues where people think he's just like a cute little cat, but that's just how his people look. Really, he's a well-respected magician and was once the magician to the king, who was deposed and murdered and all those things, and now he's out to sea escaping. And then we got Uncle Finnegan. Oh man, he's a leprechaun, isn't he? Leprechaun magic, that has to be a thing. Leprechaun magic is a thing. It involves gold. You're going to be rich. There's rainbows. There's Lucky Charms. But I don't know. Maybe Uncle Finnegan. Maybe Uncle Finnegan. Magnus looks like he listens to Megadeth. Yeah, there's something about Magnus that irks me, dude. He's got an extra thumb. I don't know if I'm going to fuck with him. Magnus is just 14. Puberty isn't treating it well. Uncle Finnegan is good. I think it's between Uncle Finnegan and Ken the Drunkard. Okay, for me, Thousand Merrill. Okay, Merrill's nice. Yeah, I mean, with the backstory that I gave him. If you guys have like alternative backstories, feel free to let me know. What your ideas are. But I like Uncle Finnegan too. It's tough. It's tough. Uncle Finnegan or Ken the Drunkard or Merrill. Yeah, you know what? Between these three, I would be okay. Just the way Uncle Finnegan is looking at me, I feel like he has something up his sleeve. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can trust him. Since I've seen these, not since I've seen these 80s Leprechaun in space movies. Yeah. Ken the Finnegan. Excuse me. I'd have to choose Luna. I want to learn the dark demonic arts to better combat the forces of the void. I don't know, man. I just don't trust the witch. Okay? I don't trust the witch. Look at the way she's looking at her creation. She's longing for it. Okay? And it's just oozing out of that pot. I just don't know if I trust someone like her. Meryl, I feel like Meryl's more of like a serious guy. What's up, Emeron? How you doing? I think Meryl is more of a serious guy. All right, let's do one more. What just happened? Let's do let's see, hero in an anime. Asking AI to people ponder in the rain. Let's see here. AI to watch people over the city. Oh, a space bounty hunter. Let's do that. Or no, this is good. You're a villain in an anime. You are now the villain in an anime. Choose your evil sidekick. Okay, I like this. This is a good one. Now we can decide what kind of bad guy we're gonna be. First of all, whoever this bad guy is sick. It gives me major Guts vibes from Berserk, but Guts if he was evil. You know what I mean? I don't know what kind of... Does that mean that this is part of one sword? You know what I mean? Like the cross guard are blades, and then like he's got a big like sword on the bottom here. Okay, so you're this guy. We are this guy. That's what it's saying. We are this guy, and we're gonna have an evil anime sidekick with us. All right, so let's find out. Think about the chores you'd have to do for Luna, collecting hair and frog legs all day. Yeah, who has time for that, man? Who has time for that? All right, first one we got Cronus. First of all, Cronus is gigantic. He's literally the size of a warlord titan. I mean, look at how giant this dude is. Or he might not, some other titan. Evil guys is weaker. Look at that toothpick. Well, I think that stick is part of a bigger sword. You know what I mean? Like here, let me see if I can draw it. Online MS Paint. Okay, so I'm imagining it's like that's the middle part, and then the inside is like this. You get what I'm saying? We got like blade in here, and then these are the two cross guards, and then this is that middle part. So that's how I see it. I don't know about you guys. But anyway, let's go back to Cronus. Cronus is nuts. Cronus is nuts. Okay. Evil Guts is weaker. Look at that. Oh, Guts. Got it. Trinity. Ooh, femme fatale, dude. Femme fatale. I like that. That's cool. Could be a magic staff that makes sword blades shoot up from the ground. That's very interesting. I like that. Taco, the all-knowing one. Dude, what if Taco, what he does is he possesses trees, and you keep like a little bonsai tree with you, and he goes into the bonsai tree, and then when you're out in battle, you just like lift up your bonsai tree, and then he possesses a nearby tree and becomes like this demonic treant that helps you. I kind of like that. But so far, Cronus is insane. Master Vex. Master Vex is gonna try to overthrow you, okay? He's not a follower. Master Vex is not a sidekick, okay? If he's your sidekick, then that means he lied to you, okay? There's something going on. Master Vex is not going to be content with being a sidekick. Stay away from him. Perry, I don't know what I'm looking at. Looks a little bit unhinged. I don't know how big or small it is, so we're just going to have to skip Perry. Jesse. Okay, so we had Trinity, who's very much femme fatale. Trinity looks badass, but Jesse gives me Children of the Corn. The eyes are kind of like wall-eyed, and looks like she's like a pyromancer. Look at the death behind her. She just burned an entire city of people behind her, and her face and emotion is zero. Aren't the bad guys always so much more interesting? Vex 100% rival. He will. Yeah. She has to be mute. I don't know why. Master Fishy. Yeah. Master's Fishy. He will betray you for sure. But Jesse's giving me sick vibes. Jesse is scary. Jesse's scary. The Onyx. Once again, just like Perry. I don't know. So I think it's between Jesse, Taco, Trinity, and Cronus. Let's be realistic. Cronus is too powerful. He's not going to be a sidekick. You won't be able to control him. He's going to do his own thing. If he's intelligent, he knows he's stronger than you. If he's mindless or maybe you have him bound to you, like he's a demon that's bound to you because you know his name and he does your bidding. Either way, he's not a willing participant. I wouldn't fuck with Kronos. Trinity looks like she's going to be ride or die. Taco's really cool. I just love the concept of Taco. Definitely not Master Vex. Forget about Perry. Yeah, so it's either Jesse, Taco, or Trinity for me. Honestly, I think I would go with either Trinity or Taco because Jesse's a little bit unhinged. I don't know if I can trust Jesse. Taco, I understand his limitations and I understand how to control him, and he won't get too out of hand, I think. Jesse seems naive, but has the potential to break through your manipulation to join the heroes. Jesse could join the heroes, but I think she's just like too powerful and too evil. Maybe she's committed too many atrocities, and the heroes are like, there's no way you'll ever be able to join us. So, I don't know. Either way, it's interesting. Either one of those is going to be a good situation. Maybe take all three. Why do we have to choose one? What kind of crazy force would we be? Would you guys watch that show with Evil Guts, Trinity, Taco, and Jesse? That's a sick story, dude. The story writes itself. Jesse would go good with the sword staff, conjuring flaming swords, but Taco's an evil Deku tree, so it's kind of a toss-up. My toss-up is between Cronus and Taco. Look, 100% Cronus is the most powerful one here, but that's why I don't want to take him. I'm scared. I'm scared he's going to try to overthrow me. All right, I don't know if I can mess with Kronos. I just don't know. I don't know. All right, let's do another one. Let's do one more. This is actually really fun. I thought this was not going to be fun, or people were not going to like it. I think the villains are the best ones. So let's do another anime villain one. Asking AI to make an anime villain for every state. All right, we're talking about states in the United States. I'm sorry, all my other folks out there. But you're gonna see what it's like, and what the stereotypes are of all these states. All right. So obviously we got Texas. Okay. So we're looking for a villain, all right? Texas, I mean, it's very stereotypical. We got Cowboy. He's got his big iron on his hip, and he has it out. I don't like the way he's holding it with two hands because that's not very badass. But anyway, Florida, we got a gator, of course. Florida's wild. It is a gator, of course. All right. All right. I think we're going to skip Iowa. Louisiana. All right, this is the eyes. The eyes bring you in, and once you're in with the eyes, Louisiana takes you out. Okay. California. Holy shit. It's a bear that's high on all kinds of crazy shit, dude. This thing doesn't even know it's murdering you. It doesn't even know it's murdering you. It's just high. North Dakota. Look at the size of that dude. Is that his handler? I don't know, dude. North Dakota looks insane. It looks like an ancient, like demigod or an ancient god of the land that was like asleep and then it woke up. Colorado, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Is it weed? I think it's supposed to be like some kind of weed plant. Yeah, I see leaves. I see joints. Damn, California got dethroned for the weed capital now. Alaska. All right, this is basically a Wendigo. It's a Yeti. All right. I think it's a little bit not creative. So I don't really care for it. It doesn't do anything for me. It's just a beast. It's just something that I'd chop its head off and put it on display in my house. That's Arkansas is literally just the devil. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. South Carolina. Okay. Is that where the Bucks are from? The Buccaneers? Is that why it's a pirate? Anybody know what the pirate idea is on this? Weed farm, weed man, yeah. South Carolina, I don't know what's going on with this. Maryland can just fuck off, dude. I don't know what that is. That's terrifying, dude. Is that its mouth? Oh my god, that's terrifying. That's the most terrifying crab bug I've ever seen. I don't even want it. I don't want anything to do with it. So I guess we're talking about which one is the coolest, right? Honestly, Florida's pretty dope, but he doesn't look like he's a villain. He actually looks like a good guy to me. You know what I mean? Like an anti-hero kind of good guy. Looks like the kind of guy that doesn't talk too much, but knows how to use the weapon. And from what I can see, the weapon he has is a hammer. It's a short-handed hammer with a blade on the bottom of it. And I just love that idea of a short, like Thor-like hammer with a blade on the bottom of it. That's a cool, interesting weapon I've never seen before. Iowa's nuts. What is this? What is this stuff? The AI picks up weird things sometimes. Louisiana is just there's like a different terrifyingness to it. You know what I mean? It's like that uncanny valley where you take like something beautiful, but it's actually evil, and it feels like you would get sucked into those eyes and your soul is gone forever. California's nuts. North Dakota's pretty cool though. I like this as being like, you know, an ancient god beast. So dude, people on the internet are down bad. You guys can't see it. Let me move my cam. Look what this guy wrote over here, dude. Louisiana kinda bad. Jesus Christ, dude. People are down bad on the internet. Arkansas's the devil. Who cares? Okay, that was fun. That was fun. That was that segment. That segment is over. We're done with that. Let's talk. Let's see. What do we do next? I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you guys want to talk about my first Cyberpunk Red game as a GM? I loved it. You want to talk about this new fan-made net running supplement? I know some of you might have seen it, but it's a 50-page, about 50-page fan-made supplement. We could talk about that too. Or we can watch another RPG video. So let me know in chat. RPG video, my first Cyberpunk game as a GM from Reddit, or that new fan-made supplement for net running. I'll be right back, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see here. RPG videos, first game as a GM. How do you not lose control as a GM in Theater of the Mind sets like Crimson Sky at the Mausoleum? Lano says. The best way to not lose control of what's going on, let's go full screen here. The best way to not lose control as a game master when you're doing Theater of the Mind, and for those of you that don't know what Theater of the Mind is, it's basically like no minis, no battle maps. It's just everything is all in our head. One of the biggest problems with Theater of the Mind is sometimes the players lose track of what the hell's going on. And you'll get to them and they're like, sorry, where was I standing? What does it look like around me? And you find yourself having to repeat things over and over again. So the best thing to do as a game master is just to keep that in mind, you know? You can still do Theater of the Mind and have like a picture and be like, this is what the place looks like. This is what it looks like inside. And you guys are here and you guys are here, you know. And forget about minis and battle maps. You're just showing them a picture of something. Whatever you can do to help you is important. You know, it's not always just about sticking and adhering to one style. It's all about making sure that everybody has a good time, right? Retrophy says, just wanted to say, found you through your CPR videos, and because of you, got my copy in the mail yesterday, plus Black Chrome. I'm happy to help, Choom. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, why don't we watch another... we'll watch another video. Or we'll watch a video after... Because we already did a video. Let's do first Cyberpunk experience, okay? So this is from user DDRIM from the Reddit. This was posted about a month ago. My first Cyberpunk Red game as a game master. I freaking love it. Okay, I gotta change up... Let me change up the music here. One second here. Give me something. Okay. So this is from user DDRIM. This is my first post on Reddit, so let me know if I made any mistakes. We'll find out. All right, first, a bit of context. I've always been fond of any futuristic dystopian setting. Don't ask me why. I love the neon. Needless to say, when I got my hands on the Cyberpunk 2077 game, I was like a kid on Christmas, and boy, did I love it. It made me even more invested in the Cyberpunk universe and starting to ponder about the role-playing game that inspired the game. You know, that's what we all were hoping would happen. Right? Oh, here we go. Regular cam. We were all hoping that would happen, you know, especially as a content creator. I was hoping that people would play the video game and be like, hey, well, I wonder what the tabletop game is like. So there you go. All right. Fast forward to 2023. I arrive in Canada. My new colleagues host D&D sessions every week. Sign me in. Atmosphere is great, everyone's friendly, and their characters form a bunch of crazy, adorable maniacs. I feel right at home. Wow, how great is it to be able to find a good tabletop RPG group just like that in your vicinity, in person, playing every week. You like everybody there, good atmosphere, friendly, and everyone's having a good time. I mean, that will set you up for the rest of your life, man. That's why I tried so hard to make sure that my community that I was a part of was like this. No gatekeeping, allowing people in, allowing people to explore. I mean, I've even seen people come into our Discord and say like, oh my God, I've never seen a Discord so friendly and open to new people. And that's sad, to be honest with you, number one. But yeah, anyway. White Bat Studio has some great royalty-free 80 synth tracks on YouTube. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm using Epidemic Sound. I pay a monthly fee for it, and I can use their music, so it's all good. Anyway, so I hear discussions about one-shots, and I think, okay, did some game master a long time ago? Okay, I did some GM game mastering a long time ago on Shadowrun when I was a teen. They're 34 now. I could try it again. I've seen how many D&D GMs do it. I think I can handle it. But what game? Hey, what about Cyberpunk Red? But do I really want to buy a whole book for a system I might not enjoy? Oh, wait, what's this? A jumpstart kit? I'm chipping in. So this person's not a new GM. They're a first-time Cyberpunk game master. But if they've done Shadowrun, then I did some Shadowrun a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, it's not too big of a stretch. The music is very low, so I could turn it up a little bit. You guys want me to turn it up? I have it super low. I'm very sensitive to audio levels. This is from my DJing days. When there are other videos that are too loud, it messes with me. See, now that's too loud for me. Okay. So, I propose the one-shot. Everyone's in, that's great. I have a group of 5 players I regularly play with and can forgive my mistakes. I have a complete kit for a one-shot. Alright, let's do it. I spent 2 weeks preparing the apartment scenario. It looks good. Comes the session, I have the plans. The die. I stole music from the video game. I explain the rules. I show them the intro video to Cyberpunk 2077. My players have picked their characters beforehand. A bunch of maniacs, and we are all set. Okay, one-shot adventures are not always that great. I'm not really a fan of one-shot adventures, but it is a great way to get players into the game if they've never played before. If you've played before, I would recommend you just playing a campaign. But if you've never played before, one-shots are great. Starts the game. They immediately get into character. They're curious about the game. A couple of times, it seems, they might go off the rails. But you know what? Challenge accepted. Great way to take it. I describe the scene, and they decide to jump the 3 corporates who don't belong to the neighborhood. Perfect. Ooh, beating up corporates is dicey, all right? Here comes the main dish, the fight scene. As soon as it begins, the solo asks if he can use his leg augmentations to jump on a building roof from the map. I never considered it, but you know what? Let's go for it. The building is now low enough for it. That's something that I've done many times in the past, is you adapt to the situation, and maybe the buildings around the character were just regular buildings, but now there's an opportunity for a player to do something really cool, and it's a one-shot. You know what I mean? If we're not going to be doing cool stuff in one-shots, when are we going to be doing it? So I would definitely adapt and let them do it as well. So from there, it's exploring both fighting and net running mechanisms, mechanics. I decided the corporate's car could be hacked. Our net runner immediately connects, takes control, and drives the car into the building. It's crazy. It's chaotic. It's awesome. Beautiful. Finally, they win the fight. It was a bit too easy, but hey, first game, jumpstart kit. Oh yeah, jumpstart kit was a little bit wild. We're discovering the system. They interrogate the engineer, then kill him. Delicious, okay? Gives me the perfect excuse to add private securities in the next fight. Yeah. So, always adapt. Definitely your players have created a situation where they're obviously dangerous. You know what I mean? You got to adapt to that situation. It turns out it lasted longer than expected. We have to end the session soon. Conclusion. The whole neighborhood is now aware of the incoming assault. The local fixer asks the player characters to defend them. Sure thing. If it pays well, the session ends. If it pays well. The session ends. At first, I planned to do one session only, but it's too much fun. So, guys, do you want to continue next week? They enthusiastically agree. To sum it up, I had tons of fun, loved telling the story, asking the players to describe their actions, building upon what they come up with. I'm comfortable with the system. I notice a few things to improve for next session. That's great. Self-reflection is great. I'm loving it, Choom. I'm really considering buying the main book now. That's a great story. I'm going to thumbs up that. What this game master did was very... I don't know if they might be new to Cyberpunk, but they are not new to being a game master because there's a lot of mistakes that new game masters would make, which is like, oh no, that building is not high enough. And oh, I don't think you can hack vehicles. I don't see it in the book. Like, there's a way to maybe do it, but I don't really see it in the book. And as a new game master, they might not explore that. But really, the best thing to do is just go with it. You know what I mean? The going with it and just letting it happen and then dealing with the consequences later has almost never blown up in my face. It's almost always led to lifelong moments that we would never forget, and has led to incidents where I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe there should be a way to hack vehicles. Maybe I should homebrew it. Let me read the book and see what it is. Oh, there's ways to hack cyberware if they have a net architecture. Let's say that almost all the new cars have a net architecture in them. You know what I mean? Might also be a natural DM. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of nuance to the game, being a game master. So this person really, I think they did an amazing job of letting their players have agency, letting their players make decisions on the fly, and adapting to their decisions. That's basically it. Especially since it's a one-shot campaign, you have nothing to lose to say yes to your players. Giving them a big, powerful weapon, excuse me, is not going to really impact a one-shot campaign, a one-shot session all that much. Jesus, what's wrong with me? Looking at the comments, everybody's being very supportive and everything. So yeah, this is good stuff. This is all really good stuff. Okay. Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back and we'll watch another RPG video. All right. We're good. Love those first RPG stories. If you guys got any good stories, make sure you message me, johnthewise@gmail.com, and we'll maybe talk about it on a future stream. How about that? Sounds like my first campaign where dedication and rules were learned and prepared thoroughly for the first session, and right now is mostly just being made up on the fly. Build upon what I made before. That's from Robin H. Yeah, that's basically what it is. What I like to do is I like to play the game rules as written, as close to it as possible, and then I'll add on to it. And basically, what I would do is, can you link the post? Yeah, I'll link it in chat right now. It'll be in the description as well. Oh, it says sign into chat. Hold on one sec. YouTubes. Where's this chat? There you go. Hard to trust your players, and something I had to relearn after running a vampire LARP group for several years. Yeah, I've never played Vampire the Masquerade. I played that video game for a little bit. So I'm not sure what the nuances are with that game, but in my opinion, if we can't, be creative and have agency to basically we can do whatever we want, then what's the point of playing? It is within reason. Obviously, there's some things. So basically, my rule of thumb for those situations is if this thing is going to be fun and everybody's going to like it, then we should do it. But if this thing is going to take other people out of immersion, where other people are like, oh, come on, man, there's no constraints in your world. You can basically do whatever the hell you want. If you're going to allow that player to do the thing they wanted to do, then it takes me out of the game and my immersion is destroyed. So that's very important. You got to keep that in mind. I want to say yes a lot, but I feel one of my players actively tries to derail it or throw me for a loop every time. Well, Ventrix, that could very well be it. I think it's always a bad time when the game master is the adversary, and it should always be a cooperative thing, in my opinion. It should be the game master basically interpreting the rules, and everybody else trying to go around and do skill checks and be smart about it. You know what I mean? Try to solve the problems. It's not up to the game master to counter every good idea to make sure that you fail. That's not what the game master is meant to do. And the reverse could be said about the player. If the player is just there to derail everything and their mission is like, I'm not going to do the obvious thing, I just want to do the thing that's going to ruin the game master's plans, they're just sabotaging your game. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I've had that happen to me. I've had a player that said that they would play in my game, but really all they wanted to do was sabotage and derail my game so everyone would have a bad time, and then we would play that person's game. But obviously that person's a moron. We all knew they were trying to sabotage our game. Why the hell would we play in their game if we know that that's the kind of person they are? You know what I mean? Robin H. I am lucky to have a small group who I know are dedicated players. I did have to learn to adapt my DMing since I wanted to do something serious, but it has gone to a more casual approach. Yeah, that's important too. You know, I understand if you want to have like a very serious role-playing scenario. There's actually a series on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's go to YouTube real quick. Dark actual play serious. I'm trying to find it. Shadow Dark. Okay, I think this is it. Shadow Dark. There's another one that I saw. There's an actual play that I tried to watch once, and there was like crying and tears and heavy subjects. And they said it from the beginning, like, viewer discretion advised. This is a very serious actual play. We explore very serious topics. And I was like, okay, let me give it a shot and let me listen to it. Honestly, it just got really, really boring because nobody was cracking any jokes. And everybody was just far too serious for something that is gaming. At the end of the day, we're rolling dice and pretending to be other people. So it's hard for me to be super serious. There's moments to be serious, and then there's moments to just crack a joke. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Love my current TTRPG players. It was a big LARP vampire group that burned me out many years ago. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've never LARPed myself. I don't think I'm into that. Okay, let's watch a video from our good friend Guy Sklanders, aka How to Be a Great Game Master. I'm going to pause this music over here. I know you guys could probably barely hear it anyway. But for those of you that don't know who Guy is, How to Be a Great GM, he is one of my heroes, one of my inspirations, and he always has amazing advice. He says, if you do any of these 10 things, don't be a game master. All right, let's see what he's talking about.
My favorite story was when I was told that I should never be a role player. Well, I didn't listen to them, but you should listen to this if you are even thinking of being a GM, DM, narrator, storyteller, creator, whatever you want to call it. If you're thinking of running games and you have one of these, don't. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of How to Be a Great GM. My name is Guy. These are the 10 things that if you possess one of them, you really should reflect and see if you can overcome it, remove it, because if you can't, you shouldn't DM. These are in no particular order. Number 1, you take yourself seriously.
Wow, we were just talking about that, weren't we? We were literally just talking about that. Robin says he's great, although a tad intimidating with the amount of videos he has. Yeah, he churns out content. I mean, he's got a business going on. You know, he's got employees, he's got people he's working with. So I totally get it. But yeah, you take yourself seriously. If you can't be self-deprecating, it can be a problem. It can be a problem. Let's see what he has to say.
If you take yourself seriously and everything that you create is this epic narrative, this glorious creative literature that no one else is capable of creating and that is absolutely flawless and will topple Tolkien or Martin or whomever you worship as a literary god, I'm afraid you're in trouble. Your game is only as good as you and your players. If you take yourself too seriously, you're going to try and make everything revolve around what you want as an outcome rather than where the story is going. Role-playing is not a serious game, folks. We're a bunch of adults pretending to be elves and fairies and pixies and goblins and gnomes and orcs running around in the bush. This is make-believe shit, folks. This is not a serious adult activity. So if you
I mean, I don't know if any of you feel called out by that, but that's absolutely true. What I just said earlier, we're rolling dice and pretending to be other people. I mean, if you take that too seriously, that says something about your character. You know, obviously there's a time and place to be serious because, like I said, it might take other people out of the immersion of the game. But if you think if you're arrogant enough to think that your game and everything that you're doing is the most important thing that's out there, the rest of the players are going to look at you like someone who thinks they're better than them. And then there's resentment, and then there's criticism, and then there's that personal private chat that they have behind your back where they talk shit about you because they know that they could never criticize you in front of your face because you would lose your shit. And that's what he's talking about. He's telling you, don't be a game master because you're basically going to waste everyone's time. This group is doomed. This group is doomed.
take yourself seriously, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. Number 2. If you cannot let the stuff that you've created be destroyed, the door is over there. Seriously, that's where the door is to the studio. You can.
All right, have you guys seen the D&D movie? There's a character in the D&D movie, the latest one, that is actually really cool in the movie, but in my mind I was thinking, man, if the game master introduced this guy in our game, I would be so pissed. So there's a character in the D&D movie that appears, and he's like this badass, and he fights like 10 different people, and he's a game master NPC, basically. He's an NPC. He's the powerful NPC. And if I'm playing in your game and you introduce this powerful NPC, I better see them get killed. I better see them, fall from grace. They better be the last bad guy that we have to fight at the end of the day. Because if you're just here to show me the cool characters that are super powerful in the game that you made up, then what are we doing here? Why am I here? Why am I here? And the bottom line of it is basically, if you are introducing something to the world, you better be ready for it to be destroyed. Don't have any darlings. And that's completely appropriate.
See behind me, there's no other doors. It's right over there. If you cannot let the stuff that you have created be destroyed, and destroyed in stupid ways, in ridiculous ways, in rubbish ways, or maybe even destroyed because no one even knew that they were there, you're in trouble. Your entire job is to create opposition to the player characters and watch as they obliterate, destroy, or overcome that opposition. You create a magnificent castle for the Dark Lord, watch as they bomb it from a distance, never entering into those corridors that you filled with beautiful traps. If that is something that is going to make you angry, upset, or unhappy, the game is all about adapting on the fly, adjusting, going with the flow, and enjoying watching the carnage. There is no way a player will ever destroy the perfect dungeon that you have designed. Their character might flood it, might wash it out, might turn it to mud, might completely ignore it, but you will still have it in a box or on a digital hard drive somewhere, but you have to let go. Don't try and force them to go to places or see the things that you've created.
So that's a very important subject that he's talking about. In the example that he gives, the players destroy a castle from a distance. when the game master's intention was them to infiltrate the castle, go through the dungeons and the traps, and then finally come to this final room where they fight the big bad guy. Well, if the characters have found a way to circumvent all that and destroy the bad guy with ingenuity, then that's their own thing. 1 second. Then let them have their fun, man. Let them have their fun. I don't understand. It's not like all those things are going to be gone. Save it, use it on the next castle, use it on the next place, adjust it. If it's for a castle and the next place they're going to is like an underwater Atlantis kind of place, just adjust it to be appropriate for that place. That's all you have to do. You don't have to scrap entire ideas. If it's going to bother you that your players have found a smart and have found the path of least resistance to overcome your problems, then you're not going to have a good time, man. It's not for you. The gaming isn't, being a game master is not for you.
3. It is you, the great creator, who is solely responsible for the game's story and for the game's final outcome. That,
Ekarin says, it's worth to point out that there's a difference between being too serious and avoiding disruptions, though. Yeah, for sure. Ekarin brings a really good point up. If your players are disrupting the flow of the game because of their antics, you could be like, all right, guys, should we just like not play today? Should we take a break? We're just cracking jokes. But also, it should let you know that, hey, your players are distracted. They're bored. And that's why they're resorting to, disrupting the game, because they want to have fun and they're not having fun in your game. Okay. So you just got to figure out which of those two it is. And that's very important.
is a giant pile of bullshit, as they say. You are not the only one. You are not the most important one at the table. And if you think you are wrong. Yes, you are the only one who can theoretically run the game because you are the leader of the game, as it were. But that is as much power as you have. You are part of a team, and if you don't like working as part of a team, if you don't like other people contributing to your space, contributing to your environment, if you don't like other people making suggestions or even just assuming and adding things to your game space, don't be a DM. Go and write a novel, okay? Just don't. This is a collaborative thing. You really, really can't roleplay as a DM on your own. It's just not possible. I'm very sad about number 4 because I would love to do a demonstration.
So what he's talking about right there is very important on number 3. You are the conductor, basically. Let's say you make that entire giant castle, and if you don't have your players to interact with it, you're just world building, right? Write a novel, okay? Write a story. But if you're not taking into account that all the things that you made for your campaign are going to be interacted with your players, and they're going to adjust it, they're going to make changes to it, and they might even throw the entire thing in the trash, then I'm sorry, man, you're in the wrong business, okay? You're in the business of creating the world, and then after that, it's out of your hands. It's completely out of your hands, okay? Once the players set foot in your world, it is no longer just your world. It is a shared universe. And your players are going to interact with it the way they see fit. Okay? Period.
Of number 4, where I just laugh and laugh and laugh for minutes and minutes and minutes. But my ribs, unfortunately, will not allow me to do this demonstration. You need to learn to laugh at yourself. Because, again, this is us being a bunch of kids sitting around a table telling a story. I don't care how complicated your narrative is or how amazingly wonderful your performances are as NPCs. You are still doing make-believe. We are having fun. You're going to try and do silly voices, or you're not going to do silly voices. You're going to try a cool idea and discover that it was actually dumb. You're going to try a puzzle and your players are going to go, I have no idea how to solve this. You're like, but it's perfectly obvious if you just use the inverted algorithmic cosine rule. You need to learn to laugh at yourself and go, I made a mistake. That's on me. My bad, guys. I won't use advanced algebraic math again.
I mean, that's just good life advice at that point. You know what I mean? It's good life advice to tell someone to not take themselves too seriously. Um, you know, it humbles you to learn about yourself and learn where your shortcomings are. And being self-deprecating actually makes you more charismatic. People are a lot more willing to become understanding and compassionate for you if you show them like, hey, I'm not perfect, like I have issues. Because guess what, those people have insecurities and issues too. So you're like, hey man, let's just be insecurity buddies, okay? And that's the best kind of friends that you can ever have. Philosopher says, in my experience, it also feels like DMs that do that over prepare instead of just having some fun engagement points for the players without being too bothered how they get there or achieve the objective. 100%. I used to be one of those people. I used to be the kind of person that would have meticulous notes about every single NPC and every single interaction, and I almost never used any of that stuff because it wasn't appropriate. It didn't work. The player characters didn't need that NPC at that moment in time, and it just didn't work out in that way. So 100%, I'm with you.
My bad. Moving on. If you can't laugh at yourself, don't play the game. 5. If you think that you and your NPCs are the same person, and you get upset when your NPCs are made fools of, or are embarrassed, or are defeated, don't be a DM.
I mean, that's nuts, dude. That's nuts. Are there really people like that out there? Someone is so okay, I see what's going on. So what's happening is somebody has inserted themselves in the world, but they inserted a version of themselves that they think is better. So it's really their insecurities. They're like, I'm insecure, so I'm making an NPC that is the best version of me. And then the player characters dismantle that NPC in whatever way they see fit. And now that person is completely broken down. They're like, not only am I a nobody in the real world, I'm a nobody in my fake world that I made up too, because these players are making fools of me. That is a deep, deep self, like, insecurity kind of problem, dude. I don't know what to tell you if you're at that point. You know what I mean? You need therapy, you need friends, you need to be humbled, you need to be told that you're loved, you need a hug. I mean, that's nuts, dude. That's nuts. Django says, I've heard of players having a hard time separating from their characters, but never GMs from their NPC. Yeah, I've never heard, I'm with you. I've heard of players like, being kind of inconsolable after their character dies for a little while, like it affected them in a big way. So, I don't think that's healthy either, but I'd be a little bit more understanding of that because it might just be like an irrational kind of thing. But a game master of that level to be like that, I don't know. The problem of separating self from character has been a thing since Gary Gygax sold Dungeons and Dragons out of his trunk. Yeah, I'm sure it is, but it's a kind of a sad problem if it's a game master and an NPC.
No, I know what it's like. You've got your favorite NPC that you've set up as being this glorious superpower, and the players walk in and you do your beautiful monologue that would make Shakespeare himself tumble to the ground in shame, for naught shall he ever see such a performance again. And the player characters go, I pull my pants down and I moon the big bad, and then I fire a guiding bolt through my legs at him. Don't be insulted. Don't go, why? That's ridiculous. It might be, but that's what the player character wants to do, and you've got to roll with it. Your job.
Okay, I kind of take it back. If you have like this really cool NPC, you inserted yourself in the world, and your player farts a lightning bolt at them, and then the NPC dies, all right, I'll be mad with you.
Job is not to be insulted that they are simply demeaning your performance. Your job is to go, well, how would the big bad react? With shock? With disgust? With distaste? Well, you've got to deal with the mechanical effect first and then decide what to do with that. And the more you empathize with your NPCs, the worse it's going to get. You need to look at NPCs as an extension of the game, and you should want to torture them just as much as the player characters want to do it. Put them in awkward, horrible situations. I know it feels uncomfortable, but if you are really uncomfortable doing that and you will use sneaky tricks or powers to position them so that they don't happen, don't be a DM. Numbers.
Yeah, I don't know if I can add anything to that. I think it's a big problem if you insert yourself into an NPC and then get upset if something happens to them. You know, I think maybe don't insert yourself if that's what's going to happen. I personally, if I inserted myself and my players just completely demolished the NPC, I would laugh like so hard because I'm like, yeah, of course they're going to do that. They're my friends. If your friends aren't shitting on you, then are they really your friends?
Oh, I don't like keeping track of stuff. I don't make notes. I don't write anything down. I don't even remember stuff. I mean, that's for the players, right? If you don't...
Oh, no. Oh, no. You can't... Look, it's okay if you forget the name of the town that your players went through 12 sessions ago, okay? It's okay if you forget that. But if you're forgetting, like, big parts of the history of your game, then it shows the players that you really are not as committed to it as they are. And then it makes them feel like, okay, so then what's the point? You know, like, if the game master doesn't care about this game, then why do I care? Why should I commit any time to caring about my character?
Don't keep track of stuff. And this hurts me because I am not great at keeping track of stuff, but by goodness, I keep track of stuff. I write it down. I have learned over many, many years that you have to do this. Doesn't matter how complicated or how simple those notes are, as long as you can recall what happened in the last session and your players are not having to remind you as the DM what's going on, then that's fine. But if you don't like keeping track of stuff, if you just couldn't care, don't become a GM. It's going to be so frustrating for your players that they basically have to run the game and they're using you effectively as a mechanical device that's going to ask for calls and things. That's not a GM. That is what an AI is going to become and replace you with, by the way.
Jesus. All right, guy. I know. ChatGPT's coming for us. But he makes a very good point. Listen, if you got a player on your table, by the way, that's taking really good notes, I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, there is favoritism, all right? That's my favorite player, okay? Because he's actually taking notes, and that means when I make a mistake and I do things wrong, I can always lean on that other player. So send the message out there that it's okay to take notes at my table, okay? And to remember things. Strive. What's up, Strive? Anything you bring into the world is a tool that can be used. Keep that toolbox. I agree. Keeping track of stuff, my experiences has been a group effort. A friend that's DMing these Saturdays often has us do a recap of last session rather than themselves. One person would start and then we would all join in. I used to kind of do the same kind of thing, but I stopped expecting my players to be that invested in the story and what's going on in the plot, because and then I would be like upset, you know, like let's say we're all at the table and two of my players are like, oh man, I honestly don't remember. I didn't really take notes. I was just like having fun playing the game. And I used to be upset at that player. But then I realized, why do I have these expectations of somebody? You know, that's not how they don't like to have fun that way. They don't like taking notes and remembering the plot. They're just happy to be here. So I don't have that expectation of my players, okay? The expectation is of me. I'm supposed to be the one to remind them. A lot of time comes in between our games. A lot of stuff happens. And you can't expect everybody to take notes on everything that's in your world. You know what I mean? I just don't think that it's feasible. Philosopher says, I do actually like it sometimes when my players don't take rigorous notes, since it means we can also keep focused on the main story instead of getting too sidetracked with arbitrary things and info. Yeah, and then you can also change things in the future, which I am guilty of doing. I'm like, they don't remember this stupid guy's name and who he is and who he was. I'll just change the name. Sure enough, we get to the table. None of them have noticed. They're like, oh, yeah, we dealt with this guy before. But none of them said his name has changed. His demeanor has changed. He went from neutral to bad guy over like a couple sessions. You know what I mean? So it's good on that sense. Darren Johnson says, I use my phone to record all my sessions audio-wise. Then after the game, I always review the recording, make additional notes from that. Dude, that's something that I learned about whenever I started recording my actual play sessions was I have a recording of our game. I'm like, oh my God, I could just go back and look at what I need to change and what I need to remember. And I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot that NPC, that thing happened with that NPC. I got to bring it back later on in the story. And if I would have just let that thing go, you know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, let's continue.
Number 7, although if you have got to number 7, you may not suffer from this, but do not become a GM if you don't like listening to others. If you find it difficult to listen to other people talking because your own head wanders off doing other stuff, you're in trouble. The whole
I just didn't want to
game.
I didn't want to pause on a crazy moment because I love Guy. He'd be like, gee, thanks for pausing on that moment. But anyway, yo, what's up, Dustin? By the way, we watched one of your latest videos in the beginning. All right, Zergash, thank you so much for coming by. I assume it's you, Dustin. I don't know. I'm wondering. It's infinite-sided dice. But yeah, so yeah, maybe you're the type of person who has some kind of condition where it's difficult for you to pay attention, and that's totally normal. There's plenty of people out there that live that kind of life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't go ahead and say like you can never be a game master, but I would say that that's something that needs to be addressed on your end if you want to continue being a game master. You need to find a way around it, find a way to work with it, because it's going to be difficult for you to be a game master when you don't like listening to other people. Other people are going to have things to say, all right? And they're going to be a part of your game, and their opinion matters just as much as yours when it comes to your world. So you have to pay attention to that. Dustin says, Infinite-Sided Dice says, there are advantages to both GM recap and focus the players in on... Oh, to both. GM recap can focus the players in on central plot, but a player recap can help the GM know what the players are interested in. I flip back and forth, which I like. Yeah, that's a really good point, Dustin, because the thing that the players remember is the thing that stood out in their brain the most. You know what I mean? They're basically telling you, of all the things that happened in our last session, the one thing that I've taken with me up to this point isn't the name of that random NPC that we interacted with. It was this thing that happened. And it tells you like, ooh, okay, the player really likes that kind of thing, and that impacted them the most. If more than one player have that same memory, then you know, like, okay, that's my gold mine. That's the thing that I can come back to anytime I need to really get these guys going. You know what I mean?
Is about talking, whether it is online or around a table. You have to listen to the people sitting next to you, and you actually have to understand what they're saying. If you find it difficult to listen to them, do not become a GM, because there is nothing more frustrating than you outlining your plan of what your character is going to do and the DM going, sorry, what did you want to do again? That's awfully bad etiquette. You really shouldn't do it. I know there are times when I find myself doing that. I stop the game, I apologize to the player, and then I refocus on what the player is saying. It is critical to be able to listen in this game, and if you are not a good listener, either learn how to become one, or you can join the others out that door.
Yeah, believe it or not, I have this issue. I have an issue where I sometimes I'm so lost in thought in the last thing that happened that I'm running scenarios in my head, and then I realize like, oh shit, the players have been talking to me and each other this entire time I should have been paying attention because they're saying things that are important. So, I would definitely, but so what I do is I stop and I go, hey, sorry guys, I was thinking of something else. My mind was occupied. Can we go back and let me know what you guys were just talking about, what you just said, or say it again, please? And then I hit it again from there. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you incapable of being a game master. If you ignore it, I would say that makes you incapable of being a game master, and you just let it go because it's like the player had the trust in thinking that you were listening to them, giving them the respect that they give you when you're going on and on about Night City 2045, the sky is red and it's raining blood, and everybody around you is just sitting there quietly listening. If they're sitting down and paying attention, the least you can do is give them the same respect.
Number 8, if you don't let other people finish talking because you interject, you cut in front of, or you anticipate what they're going to say, why? You shouldn't do that in real life anyway. That's just bad manners. But around the gaming table, how dare you try and anticipate what your players are going to say?
Yeah, I've found myself having this issue before too, by the way. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like I got to be hyper vigilant and be like, oh, okay, they're talking to me. And I have to respond and I have to talk. When really what was happening is they're just trying to role play and I'm getting in the way of it by being a game master. You know what I mean? And being a rules guy instead of telling them this is what happened. And then that happened. The best moments I've found in my games were where I just shut up and let my players talk. And they talk amongst each other. And even though they're talking to an NPC, the NPC will literally be standing there saying nothing, and the players are just talking to each other. It's the best. It works out so many ways.
Let them say it. Remember, you're supposed to be listening to them. So if you're cutting them off, well, that's just bad. There's no other way to say it. If you cut people off, if you don't like letting people finish what they're saying, if you don't like them, if you want to keep pushing them and rushing them because you're impatient, DMing is not for you. DMing is all about being patient. It's about waiting for the players to finish making up their minds. It's about waiting for the players to take actions. It's about waiting for the right moment, not about rushing the right moment. When you try and rush it, you will find your game feeling like you are pushing the players in directions that they don't want to go in.
Yeah, it's important to let them explore the situations that they're in. If you're rushing them to get to the end of the plot, maybe it's a time constraint thing, but you have to be cognizant not to do that too often, because then the players are like, oh, I guess I have to sit on this ride and be taken.
And it is no longer role-playing. It's now a game of I'm trying to steer these cats out the door. Number 9, if you like salad, out the door. That's all. If you are someone who becomes impetuous, or if you pout, or if you are a bad loser and you make up ridiculous things because, well, you're bored or you're just over it, that is discourteous to your players. If you are getting to a point where you are feeling frustrated with the game or with the players or with the outcomes, you need to step back, ask the players to take a moment, and perhaps even, heaven forbid, discuss it with the players. Hey guys, I'm getting a feeling that your characters are very irreverent of the situation, and I feel like you wanted to play a investigative series where King Charles is running around investigating stuff, but you're not taking the whole monarchy thing seriously. You're not behaving like monarchs would behave. Is that a problem for you? Is that something? And if they go, no, this is cool, we're having fun, either you have to adapt or you need to say to them, well, this is not the game that I wanted to run, so would someone else like to run it? Don't try and force it back to the way that you want to run it. Don't try and punish the players for doing what they're wanting to do. This is a failure to communicate. Just as the salad is a failure to provide food or nourishment or sustenance for anything other than, whatever it is that can survive on salads, you need to be able to listen to your players, adapt to what they're saying, and question what they're doing. It's a two-way street here, folks. And if you can't do that, you're going to have a very, very unhappy time. And as a result, your players will have an unhappy time and the whole thing will just dissolve.
So Nimbos says in chat, I'm currently dealing with I'm currently dealing with the hypervigilance because I feel like I have to give a reaction for almost everything to make it feel alive. I realize there's flaws in that logic, so I'm trying to get better. So my advice to you is to, when you find yourself when you're playing and your players are talking, just don't say anything unless they're actually talking to you and asking you a question. Try this experiment where you don't say anything, and maybe there's going to be a little bit of silence, and you think to yourself, oh, I'm supposed to fill in this silence. It's okay if that silence is a few seconds longer, because in those few seconds, another player might chime in and they go, well, look, I've been thinking about it. I don't know if this is a good idea. What do you mean it's not a good idea? Well, that thing that happened last session, this, and that. And now your players are playing the game. They're playing the game. You don't need to talk, okay? They're playing the game, and unless you're going to be talking about the same subject they're talking about and joining in on their conversation, then you don't really need to talk about it. Then when there's a lull in the game and there's a silence and you feel like nobody's filling it, when you guys are playing together, they'll all start looking at you. That's why like body language and stuff playing in person is really important. They'll all look at you, and that's how you know, oh, okay, now it's my turn to continue the game because the game has come to a stop, okay? It's all about just knowing the balance of when the game has come to a stop and when the players are just taking their time to role play. Philosopher Ferris says, I always had one of the requirements that after the game, players could give also feedback to each other on how to move forward to make sure frustrations don't slowly build up over time. Yeah, resentment and frustrations, a gaming group is like a relationship. If you sweep things under the rug, it will boil up to the surface later on in life. I don't know. I use like two different analogies, the boiling and the sweeping. I don't know how I got them two together. But anyway, if you let things go, then they will come back with a vengeance. Always communicate about those kinds of things. If you have a gut feeling, give them a call and be like, I like to call my players and just get their feedback on the last session, and I want to know how you felt about what happened. And 9 times out of 10, there was a reason why you made that phone call. Okay, something happened at the table, and you want to address it. And it's good to address it right away so there isn't built up resentment and hatred or any of that stuff, and you guys can come to a resolution as soon as possible.
Number 10, the last one. This is the one that I feel puts the most pressure on DMs. It is also the one that I feel is the wrong one. It is this notion that the DM is solely responsible for the fun at the table. If you feel that you are burdened with creating fun at the table, and that is your sole aim, is to entertain people at the table, step back. Step back. Because you are not an entertainment piece, you are not providing a service for your players, unless you're a professional DM, in which case shut up and provide your service.
Yeah, he's making a lot of good points there. It doesn't completely fall upon you to make it a fun session, okay? The fun is important, but everybody needs to work together to make the fun. You're literally there to interpret the rules. And you came up with a story that you think is interesting, and you need the players to interact with it for it to really meet its potential. And once you get to the table and your players start playing, the only responsibility you have is to interpret the rules. That's it. They're going to roll dice. They're going to have things that they want to do. Just be there to tell them how they can do it.
Because you're being paid for it, okay? You are not there to provide entertainment. You are there to enjoy and engage with your fellow players to collectively create entertainment for all of you. The fun at the table is just as much your responsibility as it is everybody else's at the table. So if you feel like you have to go in with jokes and with gags and with amazing ideas and all of this kind of stuff, and that the players just have to sit there and either absorb what you're giving them or they are not responsible at all, you are setting a very bad precedent. And that is something that we don't want. You don't want it either. If you wanted to be a stand-up comic, Go out that door and be a stand-up comic. You'll have more fun, trust me. Those are my 10 little things about what you
Okay, there it is. That's the end of the video. If you guys enjoy Guy's videos, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go to How to Be a Great GM. I actually have his book here. This book right here. I interviewed Guy about this book recently. It's on the channel, so if you guys want to check that out, we go into this book. This book literally has everything you need to be a great game master, and it's called The Practical Guide for a reason, because it's a practical book. But all the ideas that you heard in that video are stuff that you'll see in this book as well. But great video, a little bit controversial on the title, but I think I agree with almost everything that he says. I don't know if there was anything that he said that I disagree with, but yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. In chat, Rashawn Shade says the best sessions as a GM is when the players are deciding what to do in character role playing. Yeah, I think that's what you were trying to say. I agree with you. Those are some of the best sessions. That was great, Chumba, but my game's about to start. Well, don't worry, because that's the end of this stream, folks. Thank you so much for being here on the first of them all. The first stream for my chooms. This was a lot of fun, actually. I don't know how you guys felt about the stream. I'd love to get feedback, please, in the comments. Let me know if this is something that was entertaining for you guys and something that you'd look forward to. I'm hoping to do it on a bunch of Sundays. So that's it. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for the continued support. Make sure you look in the description for all my connections for Patreon, Discord, social media. And if you want to get some D10s, I got a great affiliate link for really beautiful D10s. D10 dice, obviously. What else am I talking about? But anyway, thank you all for joining me. Thank you to Guy and Infinite Sided Dice for the great content. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Awesome. Have a wonderful Sunday. Love you guys. Bye. All right. I think I just turned it off. I should have a goodbye screen, shouldn't I? I'm supposed to have a goodbye screen, aren't I? But anyway, we'll just turn it off. See you guys.